After Deku completely demolished Muscular, Aizawa gives out the reluctant order to all of the students of UA High School to fight back against the villains. The last episode of My Hero Academia was absolutely amazing, so that was a really tough act to follow. The good news is this episode is honestly just as exciting in many ways as we finally get to see the students battling against the various villains of the Vanguard Action Squad. And there are a lot of standout scenes in this episode, not to mention the introduction of some brand new villains, such as Twice, who is a very ridiculous, over-the-top Deadpool-esque villain who has the ability to clone people. He also seems to have something of a split personality where one moment he's being positive and the other moment he's being completely negative. But we actually get to follow up on that big battle between Dabi and Aizawa, the scene where Dabi just appeared out of nowhere and those blue flames just erupted from his hands. It looks like Aizawa was able to dodge that technique, wrap him up in his cloth, and even knee him directly in the face. But even after that, it seemed like Dabi was defeated after having his arms broken, but suddenly he starts to melt into this pool of mud. This is when Aizawa theorizes that maybe the blue fire wasn't his quirk at all. No, he was simply a clone which was created by Twice, who, like I said, I think is going to be a very fun character, if only for the fact that, like I said, he's kind of a caricature of Deadpool. Not only the costume itself, but his overall personality, so cannot wait to see more of that guy. But we also get to see more of Mandalay's battle with Spinner and Magne, which is really fantastic, especially when Spinner actually gets completely distracted when Deku arrives and he starts to run away and Magne tries to attack him. He gets angry because that goes against what Stain originally was going to do with this kid. He recognized him as a true hero, thus he wasn't going to hurt him, but since he goes into a monologue, he ends up getting destroyed by Mandalay, which is fantastic. And man, I think Mandalay might be my favorite member of the Wild Wild Pussycats. She's definitely my waifu of the team, if you know what I mean. But also, Tiger was really awesome in this episode. The choreography they gave him when he was battling against Magne, it all looked really awesome, and it looked like if you were to be hit by one of those attacks, it would probably hurt really freaking bad. But there's also some other cool developments. We get back to Katsuki Bakugo and Shoto Todoroki, who are battling against Moonfish, whose quirk is something that I didn't expect. He has the ability to grow and extend his teeth and can basically use them like massive tentacles or whips or tendrils, which allow him to not only attack but also move around the terrain, almost as if he was like Spider-Man if the webs were coming out of his friggin' jaw. It's a really unique ability, and I didn't expect to see anything like that, and I can't wait to see Katsuki go all out against this guy, especially because Mandalay tells everyone yes, they can fight, and also these guys are after Katsuki Bakugo, so everybody knows that these villains are actually looking out for him, so that's just going to intensify everything even more so. We have a great scene too with Aizawa actually taking Kota and running away with him, and reassuring him that when this is all over, you should probably thank Deku. But I think the main event of this episode, without a doubt, is both Kendo and Tetsutetsu fighting against Mustard, the Gas Man. Yes, that's his name, Mustard, which is actually kind of fitting. I guess it goes along with the fact that he uses poison gas, mustard gas, and he's basically this really creepy high school student who's able to emit this gas from his body, but even he himself can actually be knocked out by it. That's why he actually wears a gas mask. He also uses extreme dirty tactics, as both Tetsutetsu and Kendo just run into the middle, the thickest part of this gas, to take him out. Of course, Tetsutetsu is going to use his metal armor abilities and just punch this guy and end it all. The thing is, though, this guy decided to bring a gun to a hero fight, and Mustard actually keeps repeatedly blasting him with a revolver, which actually manages to break through his metallic armor. But that's when Kendo comes in. She makes her hands incredibly large and starts to just like wave and clap them around, making all of the gas disperse everywhere, which allows Tetsutetsu to come in and finish this guy with one awesome punch. It's really, really solid, and one of my favorite moments from this entire episode is we finally got to see these students taking down another villain, and it was very satisfying, and more importantly, it was from Class B. these are the characters that really need to shine, and so far Tetsutetsu and Kendo have definitely been some of the standouts. I also do love how they sort of build on the fact that maybe Kendo has a thing for Tetsutetsu, or at least she just admires the fact that he runs headlong into battle. But his overall battle with Mustard was really solid. I really loved how that all was handled, especially just the visuals of his metallic armor going down, and that amazing reference that Mustard made to the fact that he's acting just like the Terminator. Makes sense. The dude is covered head to toe in metal. He's basically the T-1000 on drugs. And then we have a really great cliffhanger ending. We have Deku running into Mezzo, who is severely damaged, and that's because Fumikage Tokoyami is going on the rampage. He cannot control the beast within his inner shadow, which is literally taking over his body and transforming him into a massive monster. It's one of the coolest images I've seen from the series, and I've been waiting for that moment where Fumikage was going to lose control of this beast and we were finally going to see it in action. Will he be able to rein it in? Will Deku have to knock some sense into him? While his arms have been destroyed, his feet still work pretty good in this episode. He even manages to get a hit on Spinner in this one in a fantastic entrance. Really, Deku is turning into one of the greatest main characters that I have ever seen, and if anyone was going to bring Fumikage out of his funk, it's probably going to be him. So, what's the rundown on this episode of My Hero Academia? Man, this series can almost do no wrong. Every single episode manages to be incredibly entertaining, and it was surprising that they went ahead and got the main character's big fight out of the way, but I like it because now we can focus on all of these other characters and seeing what they're actually going to do. There was also a lot of teasing in this episode for some of the other confrontations that we're going to see with Himiko Toga, who looks like she's going after Ochako and Asui, which I think is going to be really awesome, if only for the fact that they're keeping it so mysterious at the moment, and Himiko is definitely one of the most featured of the Vanguard Action Squad, especially the way she plays in the intro, and how her and Dabi were sort of like the original members we saw at the end of the last season. But all the new ones they introduced in this one are great. Like Twice, like I said, I love his design. It's a combination of Deadpool and Skullomania, and his overall personality makes him look like he's going to be a very fun villain, to say the least. And for him to be able to actually make clones of people, just imagine what he could do with these guys. And apparently his clones can even use those quirks, because Dabi was able to use his blue fire, even though that was a clone the entire time. So, yeah, that's a pretty insane quirk, to say the least. But mostly I'm interested in learning a little bit more about what's going on with Fumikage, why he's just going insane and can't control his powers anymore, and maybe how they can utilize this against the villains. But they're probably not going to be able to do that, as just even getting close to him could probably cause you a lot of damage as well. But the real stars of this episode, without a doubt, are Tetsutetsu and Kendo, who absolutely just rocked the house in their battle against Mustard, which was visually really fun to see, and very shocking, too, to see like a young high school student doing these type of things, much less even using a friggin' revolver in battle. It was really shocking to see him bring out that gun, and a stark reminder that even with the superpowers, there are some crazy people in this world who are willing to take you down in some brutal, old-school fashion ways. And it really caught Tetsutetsu off guard, especially because he got shot in the face immediately, which broke his gas mask, forcing him to have to hold his breath the entire time. But he still managed to make it through, even with the big goofy expression on his face as he was holding his breath as he took this guy out. It was just really satisfying. We even get to see Mustard's face. He's just a normal-looking high school student. There's not really much to that character. But it looks like, yeah, some of these guys are actually going to be defeated, but some of them seem like they're going to be a real threat, and Muscular in many ways was sort of like the appetizer before the main course. Really, what more can I say? From a production standpoint, this was another great-looking episode. The fact that it focused on the side characters a little more is always great, as every single one in the series is just awesome. The villains are over the top, well-designed. Really, this is just another wholly entertaining episode of My Hero Academia, which is why I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. Check it out, guys. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this episode. You can tell me all of them in the comment section below. What did you think of the introduction of the new villain Twice? What did you think of the battles this week? Did you have a favorite moment? Do you love that the side characters are finally getting a little play? And what about Fumikage? What do you hope to see from him in the next episode of the series? Let's start a discussion in the comment section, guys. I'll see you guys next time, and as always, stay down there, baby.